First of all, I'm going to talk to Douglas for winning the Emergent Talent Award. And before I ask him anything, there is a video from the director of the project.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, dear nominees and the public, my name is Antoine Paille and I am the director of the film Harmonical Distraction, a film that was commissioned by Etienne Malek from the Baltic Watch Company, who is a good friend of ours. I just want to take a brief moment to congratulate Douglas on providing quite an amazing work and achieving a surprisingly appealing result. The shooting was done in a very particular set of conditions, with various kind of cameras. We had shitty DSLRs, film cameras, and more professional ones. All kind of lenses, different filters, and almost no lighting equipment at all. In a few words, it was just a nightmare for any colorist. The way we work with Douglas is quite particular. On this specific sort of project, we like to let him completely free without any direction. And in most cases, he just managed to pull out the best out of it. So again, congratulations to you, my friend, on winning this award. I would like to take a brief moment also to thank my good friend François Guillot, who is the key cast editor on this project. And then he was able to work hand in hand with Douglas to manage to pull this amazing film out of the blue. Thank you guys for listening and enjoy the ceremony. Bye.
So Douglas. First of all, I'm going to ask you about whether you'd worked with the director and DP before on any other projects, or was it the first time?
Yeah, we've been working on several projects together for, I think, a couple of years now. And we've been drinking a lot of good wine and attending good restaurants as well, which helped bonding our team, I think. And yeah, we've been working together for a bit, and we've built that trust and that creative trust over time.
And so what, first of all, tell us what format that they shot on?
So it was shot on DSLR camera, a Fuji HX2S, I think, if I recall correctly. The glass were very sharp, like digital, modern glass.
And so, because it's a very kind of filmic look, as we'd say.
So yeah, we tried to really offset that digital feel as much as we could. And it was all about, the guidelines were, okay, please give it give it a cool look, make it look cool and give it some nice character. So I took that to the best as far as I could, and yeah, just trying to rebuild every single texture and little compression in the tonalities and stuff like that, and compression in the saturations and whatnot, to really sort of mold that film aesthetic as best as I could, and really, yeah, just the goal was to kind of see it and think it was not shot digitally with DSLR cameras, basically, yeah.
And did they give you feedback along the process, or you finalized it and then handed it back?
Well, it's like I worked on the best V1 as I could possibly do, and sent a streaming Frame.io link and crossed my fingers, and they were super happy. I think there was a couple notes, but they were really happy with it. Yeah.
Anything else you wanted to add?
No, I would like to really thank them for trusting me over the years, and we've built a really good collaboration and friendship. So yeah, thank you, Antoine Paille. Thank you, François Guillot. Yeah.
I'm going to move on to talking to Nadia about her project. And before she starts, we have a little video from the DP.
Hello. I'm really happy for Nadia to win this award, and it's too bad I cannot shake the hand in person. Actually, we never met in real life, as the whole process was done remotely. Regarding the music video, it was shot on Kodak 16mm film stock. Our inspiration was an old postcard, Bleached by Sun. So during the process, we're sending each other some reversal photos references. And in the end, Nadia's sensitivity and the film texture itself gave us this vibrant, colorful, and milky look, which we're really pleased with. I'm really happy that the project made its way to this film festival and that Nadia won this award because she did a great job. Congrats to you, Nadia.
And Nadia, I'm going to ask you, because I already know the answer to this, is how you ended up working with this team.
Hello? Yeah, it works. I have to say, lately, social media is a very powerful tool, so it opens doors outside our immediate circles, and we're able to collaborate with people around the globe. So in this case, with the director, we just engaged through Instagram. We worked on a first commercial campaign. It went really well. We worked on a second commercial campaign. Went really well. And so when this music video came up, he called me to work with them.
And were they with you when you were doing the colour timing?
No, they were in Poland, and I was in Madrid. And
Working remote.
And we didn't use live stream. We had a brief in the morning. We shared the references, made some tests, and kept working. Yeah.
And so do you want to talk about your process? And was there, what kind of reference that he said that he'd given you the faded postcards? Did you actually physically have any reference, or how did you deal with that?
No, for some projects we get physical references, but in this case it was just a visual picture sent by email. And they were like, the typical postcards you see from the 80s of families having holidays somewhere, but faded, very, very colorful, but very, kind of like nostalgic in a way. Yeah, but always with fun details of like, I don't know, people wearing weird clothes or, having their ice cream falling down or stuff like this. Yeah.
And you added to the texture as well, didn't you, of the film, the negative that was already there?
Yeah, actually, it's all shot in 16, so it's a gift. It's very beautiful to work with, and it was very well shot. But it had a lot of VFX, so we had to grade different plates and really take good care that the texture wouldn't jump from plate to plate in this case. Yeah.
It's interesting because I think the power of social media now is, and people do ask me, do I DM you or how do I talk to you about maybe working with you? But I think it's about the visual part of it, isn't it? And so tell me how your Instagram's set up. Is it stills? Is it?
I use stills because I don't like how the app compresses the videos. I didn't find the way. I mean, if you look, there are many post houses that post videos and they're very well compressed. You're like, how do they do this? But I just put stills. Yeah. And I have to say, it has been for me specifically a very powerful tool to get work. Yeah.
It's interesting. I'm going to move on to commercials and talk to you, Tim. And before we do, there's a little video from the director.
I worked with Tim for about more than 25 years, if not 30. Tim is a very passionate, extremely skillful colorist. I think to me is the best. By far is the king. He knows color like no one else does. He just loves color. He gets so excited when you bring film, and he's just like a kid, like playing like crazy. He makes the film alive. He gives it a real life. I like the way he works in his gray room with no color, and he puts this very ambient type of music, and you look at the footage just with that music, and it's fabulous, and he tweaks things around like little by little. He talks very little, but when he says something, he's always right. He's working with a very passionate soul, someone that really loves his craft. This particular film we worked on together was shot by Philippe Lesourd, an amazing DP, and I worked with him like also for 30 years. The amazing thing about Tim, he picks it up. He sees it. Oh, you guys did this. Oh, you guys did that. Oh, that's for me, right? And he brings it out in a way that I haven't seen anyone do it as good as him. So I'm really happy for Team. Team, congratulations to you for this award. You deserve it 1,000,000 times. You're the best.
And this is the 4th FilmLight Colour Awards, and Tim has won 3 of them. So congratulations there. Well, as Fabien was saying, you've worked with him and Philippe for a long time, and so you already have a relationship in many projects. So you want to talk about that?
Yeah, we have, like Fabien said, it has been a very long time with numerous projects. Although Fabien is very creative, and I never really know what to expect from project to project. And I'm, when I know that one is on the schedule, it's always like, well, just give me like a sentence. Give me one sentence of what where your head's at, look-wise. Sometimes I get it, sometimes I don't. I did not actually get one for this. So since we have worked together so much, and I feel like I have been trained by him in what he's looking for, how he perceives things. Everything is usually, very beautiful. This is no exception. There's a lot of subtlety to things. Nothing is gratuitous, overdone. It's, there's a lot of precision in where we're trying to take things. So we did here as well.
One thing that I really enjoyed about this is the beautiful handling of colour and colour separation, colour contrast, however you want to explain it. It's very elegantly done.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, definitely that was a primary focus here. The process for this spot was, just kind of balancing it. It's shot beautifully. Philippe's light is spectacular. So, you honor that. And kind of like what Fabien said, this was definitely one of those examples. Oh, you let that blue light spill into the red a little bit. Oh, okay, I got you. Let me elaborate on that, make sure that that is pronounced as an element. And just wherever, and there's many examples everywhere throughout the piece. We did have to, most of the elements, whether it's like the floor or the walls, the curtains, the furniture, there's a lot of mats in that shot right there for every element that we had to make, and to just find the right combinations per shot, and then overall for the whole piece to make sure we weren't being too repetitive or too heavy or predominant with one color or another.
Okay. Next, I'm going to move on to the Spotlight Award winner, Raul. And before I ask you a question, here is a little movie from your DP.
Hola a todos, soy Miguel Ángel Mora, director de fotografía de La Espera, y quiero felicitar con este vídeo a Raúl Lavado por su increíble trabajo en la película y por este merecidísimo premio. Raúl es, pues para mí, el mejor etalonador con el que he trabajado. No solamente es una persona con un dominio técnico absoluto de su oficio, sino que tiene una sensibilidad especial a la hora de entender las historias, lo que el director de fotografía y el director quieren contar. Es alguien que te ayuda, que te lleva y que con su sensibilidad ayuda a que la historia suba y a que la fotografía brille y se convierta siempre en algo especial. Pasamos jornadas interminables etalonando, jornadas interminables debatiendo, discutiendo, intentando que aquello que estábamos haciendo y que para nosotros es como todos los proyectos en los que nos embarcamos algo especial, tuviera ese alma que tanto Raúl y yo, pues queríamos que tuviera. La película fue una película muy dura de rodaje y en todo momento quisimos mantener ese ambiente y esa atmósfera, y Raúl no solo la mantuvo, sino que la potenció. Es, pues como ya os he dicho, alguien excepcional y nada más que decirte, Raúl, que disfruta de este premio. Estoy muy contento, de verdad, que este reconocimiento muy merecido. Un saludo a todos y que disfrutéis.
Miguel's loved me a lot.
Had you worked together before?
Before, yeah. We met TV series before. That was our first project. Yeah.
So I want to ask you tell us what the format was, the original format they shot on, and
it was Arri Alexa Mini LF and with a Master Prime lens.
But there's a very textured kind of filmic look that you eventually ended. Is that something you talked about before the shooting of the movie, or it was something that you worked out later?
No, that was a typical because I want to be involved in the beginning of the process, but this is like the Spotlight names is a low budget, and they can't contact me after they shoot all the movie, and we work from the scratch. That was shot with a Rec 709 Alexa LED, and then I put my creativity job with the DoP. Okay, that was great in Baselite 2 system, in TCAM color management, and we made the look in Baselite 6 Chromogen for the first time, and enjoy a lot. And we did three looks for 3 different stages of the movie, and 1 look for the night. Okay, and the first stage is not contrast like the rest of the movie, because it was more peaceful, organic, and in the second act or second stage, when something very dramatic happens in the movie, we kill all the green colors, because in Spain, I don't know if you know the place, means hope, and our starring lost all the hope, and we kill that color, the green one. I used to a lot in the end of the movie, basically the texture tools for remark the skin's effects by the sun is the Andalusian in 50 degrees under the sun is very hot place, and that is the director and me and the DOP, of course, want to translate to the movie the hot, the suffocus, and I think it's nice.
And how many days did you have to color time this movie?
How many days? 10 able days. 5 and 5. Yes.
5.
Yeah, 5 and 5. Yeah, 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Yeah. And one day I was in testing Chromogen, but it was my first approach, and I made the look and the DOP and the director. What the hell's that, man? It looks amazing, and that was very fast with the look and matching, and that was very fast.
Okay, I'm moving on to episodic TV series, to Manuel. And before we talk, there is a thank you from the cinematographer.
My name is Philipp Kaminiak. I am the cinematographer of the Zweiflers. Congratulations, Manu, for your prize. Color correction can be quite technical, but when you break it down to its core, it's the same as in all other arts. It's very intuitive. It's all about finding the right tone for the story you want to tell. Manu and I, we didn't have that much visual references for the color correction of this project. We only used a camera test which showed one-to-one comparison of an Alexa 35 next to material recorded on Kodak 35mm film. This is where we took all our references from. How to make this digital material really look alive. For the Zweiflers, we wanted the image to feel vibrant and alive. We both love celluloid aesthetics. We worked together before in projects being shot on film, so we know what is the strength of it. Even though Zweiflers was shot digital, we wanted to have this special human feel. We never really compared this project to anything else or tried to achieve a look we saw somewhere else. Actually, we never spoke in these terms, maybe marginally. Manu has a great sense for the meaning of scenes in a film, really listens and senses what happens in the narration and adds up something that is beyond the question of look. Most of the time, we spend speaking about sharpness or texture of the image rather than color temperature or color shifts. The feel and haptics of an image and what it does to your perception, this was really important. I really like when this kind of parameters come into play when discussing color, and I feel like having found a perfect collaborator in Manu in regard of those details. Manuel is a musician and he behaves like one when it comes to his craft as a colorist, much more like an artist than a technician. And I think this is what makes him standing out. Film is art and color is art. You need to feel it. I'm very convinced this guy is really feeling it. Big pleasure and honor to work with him.
Did you want to elaborate a little bit more on? He did explain a lot of stuff there.
Yes, he did.
On your collaboration together and the way that you got the look.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to see it right here. We started out with a lens test that Philip shot. He did one on 35mm Kodak Vision 3 250D. And there was also one 60mm test, and we kind of took both of them, not necessarily trying to recreate what was going on, but just to reference a little bit more of the texture. And for the shoot, I provided Philip with a kind of our base LUT that had our contrast information baked in, a little bit of the saturation behavior and tinting that was going on. And then during grading, we kind of used that as our base to create a little bit more sophistication on top of it, because sometimes when you're using lookup tables on set, I believe it can be very, very good if you want to see your final image or as final image as possible, but can also be limiting depending on what you're shooting. So usually I try not to go in with a too heavy of a LUT, but something that transports the character. And mostly that's contrast and a little bit of that color palette that's going on. And I mean, what we're going to see in a moment as well is that this time, because we knew how film behaves, like at least in the projects that we did together, we did a bunch of short form projects shot on 60mm. And I absolutely love to try to recreate. Also what Douglas mentioned was that it's just, it has certain qualities to it. Like if you shoot on film or try to recreate it, it's not necessarily about the emulating process, but rather to create that feel and that kind of subconscious attributes that just makes you be immersed in the story instead of looking at an image.
And something you were telling me about before is that you didn't have, you tried not to have white in the frame. And so all the highlights and things, walls and things that were coming up white, you added color to them.
Yeah, to me it's fascinating because whenever I get a project shot on film back and I see the scan negative, it's most of the times all over the place and it can be so different. And so for us, there's, we took a lot of inspiration from that kind of pollution that happens sometimes when you don't necessarily have a neutral gray or neutral white. And for us, it was mostly like for a subconscious vibrancy that we wanted to create, and to have that color be pushed into areas that is that are more neutral. Like we had a lot of white walls, a lot of concrete, sometimes dull skies, and I think like if you push a lot of color into it, it can be a very nice way of adding some depth and color contrast when when there originally is not that much of separation. And what we also did, especially in settings like this, is a lot of shaping. So a lot of windows that we try to create the mood, create the light. I'm very fortunate that Philip is also a cinematographer that likes to embrace the tools available to him on set. So also, I'm not sure if he actually used the LUT that I built that often. I think he had it on some monitor, but he just likes to be hands-on. And also with filtering, he did quite a lot of shaping in camera. So he would use kind of gradation filters in front of the lens to shape indoors and to create a little bit of depth for us to have a base to work off.
I think, I understand that if you have a very heavy LUT, sometimes you want to turn it off to see how much range you have or what the actual colours are that are in the original raw files. Especially, but to have it as a reference on set, I think is really handy too, to have both. And do you want to talk a little bit about these scenes?
Yeah, I mean, what we tried to do with the overall show look was to, of course, have that filmic base going on and a little bit of kind of a print curve. We added that almost at the very last sessions, because we have been working quite a lot remotely on this project as well. So Philip spends half his year in Mexico, and so I would wake up and try to get work in, then send him a file. He would feedback on it, or we would get on a live stream that he would watch on a MacBook or iPad, and going back and forth. And I would render out a playout, send him. I go to sleep. He gets me some feedback, and I wake up and have information to work with. So that was really great. And I also have to say, like, that it's, especially with Philip, he's such a kind person to feedback, which I think is really a good thing, because like when you wake up and you have some kind comments in between the many notes that can happen, I think that's, yeah.
And it makes a big difference, doesn't it? You're not just getting negative comments.
Absolutely, yeah.
A little bit of encouragement in the middle.
Yeah. No, it's yeah. It changes the mood, like how you're creating and how you run a room. Like if you're not in a room together and you work remotely, I think that's a really nice gesture to.
I mean, we're lucky we can work remotely now with such good imagery. Like I remember I did a movie and had to rely on stills on the internet to make judgments, and thankfully it's changed a lot.
Yeah, I mean, with this project especially, it was a bit easier than usual because it was SDR only, so we didn't do an HDR version, even though you could, of course, but that made a few steps of the way a little bit easier, I would say, not to have to think about the trim passes. Mm-hmm. What is any conversion going to do with the original intent? So yeah, that also made it a little bit easier, that initial kind of lens test and profiling of the film curve, and yeah.
Thank you. I'm now going to move on to talk to Greg about theatrical feature. And before we chat, here's a message from Robbie, the DP.
Hello, CAMERIMAGE. I thought I'd do a video that's really sickly. Just wishing Greg Fisher, the legend, all the congratulations in the world. Absolutely brilliant job on Poor Things. Couldn't have done it without you, Greg. Honestly, congrats.
So, Greg, would you like to talk, because it was shot on film, yes, black and white and colour. Do you want to talk about and reversal?
Yeah, it was all 35, black and white, colour, reversal, and a little bit of VistaVision, which is still 35, but the wrong way around, or the right way around, depending on your point of view. The black and white section of the film is when Bella's an infant and a child, and we see her, develop from non-verbal through to, teenage years. Not too specific, but it's a very effective. You're in the period feel, and the cut to colour. It's the first time we see her having sex. It's the first. We know at that point she's become a woman at that point. And I just thought it was a really elegant way of making that delineation to get to the more slightly saucy aspects of the film that that required a boundary, I would say. We spent probably the most difficult thing technically was getting a decent ectochrome scan. That took a long time. It took about a year of sending. Robbie shot a really good test. It absolutely saturated the range of the ectochrome, and we used one take on every scanner we tested with every set of settings in London, in Budapest, in Germany at the manufacturers, and it wasn't like a year of continuous testing. It was more like a year of a piece of film being shipped around and then put on a machine for 10 minutes. But eventually we arrived. We got a really good scan on an upgraded ARRI scan with Cinelab in London, which dragged out every little bit of exposure that was living in the ectochrome. And the test Robbie shot was, it was better than the test film, really. If you could retrieve information from the exposure extremes on that shot, then, you're good. So, that was good. And then the VistaVision, that looks amazing. That's quite dramatic for when Bella's reanimated. That's when that was used. So, it gave, a slightly more depth and drama to that already quite dramatic scene. Yeah. As you can see from the video, Robbie's quite good fun to work with.
Yes.
So, and Yorgos also, so yeah.
And so was there much sort of manipulation with colour and colour timing? Because you'd already made between those three emulsions, very strong decisions in the differences. Were you pushing things after?
Yeah, well, the dailies was done not by us, and for example, in the dailies, all of the black and white was really low contrast and just didn't look like black and white film to me.
Because you can only get the one black and white stock now, and it's not the contrasty one.
Yeah. But, if we're talking about trying to evoke a period film, black and white, it doesn't want to look like a best light on a telecine from 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. So, and then the neg as well, that was, came back quite, a bit graded without a film emulation LUT, which is what we were hoping they were going to use for it. But then, of course, the ectochrome came back super contrasty because it was done on a sort of quick turnaround scanner that couldn't extract the full dynamic range of the stock. So,
which it doesn't have much anyway, does it?
No. So it was a bit of a journey to kind of pull a bit more out of the ectochrome and then push the neg quite a lot further and the black and white a lot further as well. And then once we sort of got, the main thing then is just to make sure I feel like I'm getting everything that I can out of that negative for each scene and that it's working as a scene. And then, we'll make these sort of scene adjustments, which mainly were more contrast, more colour from Yorgos and Robbie. So, they pushed, yeah. We didn't find a point where we felt like it was too much.
Sounds like you couldn't have had too much.
Yeah, but perhaps, yeah. Yeah.
And these scenes in particular I want to talk about. Mm-hmm. What was that LED screen?
Yeah, so that was a volume. I think it went to VFX to be sort of slightly augmented, and also just to tidy up, because it wasn't such a big stage, and it wasn't such a big volume, so it was actually quite close to the set. So you could, in certain shots, you could see the texture of the screen, or you could see the joins or something. But I think it's really effective. I think it's particularly great for the actors as well to be on set with, whether it's the final thing or not, it's some notion of where you are and what you're doing, which, it's got to be incredibly helpful compared to a big flat green screen. It'd just be a nightmare.
And to shoot on film too, an LED screen. I don't think it's done very often.
Yeah, Robbie and Yorgos, both very strong advocates of shooting film. I love working with film. It's my favourite thing to be grading. So I do, almost to the point that they wouldn't make the film if they couldn't make it on film. And we often would say, we just wishes more people would just shoot film, because I'm always getting asked, like all the other panellists have talked about, we're always getting asked to make things look like film.
Yeah.
So there is another route to that currently, but if nobody takes it, perhaps it's in jeopardy. So if that is an aesthetic that people want to have access to, they need to use it.
I think a lot of time it's budget, or shooting in a place that doesn't have easy access to a laboratory to some of the...
One director's answer to me on that point was just shoot less. It's never that simple, but...
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for coming tonight, and congratulations to our winners and our nominees and their amazing work, these artists.